Hi, I'm Dr. Tim Weir, and I gotta tell you, I love life. But when I'm not being a husband, a father, a grandfather, an author, or a practicing chiropractor, I'm the host of the television show, Loving Life with Dr. Tim Weir. I love to cook. I love to travel. I like to spend time with people who do what they love and love what they do. Join me and Elvis for the next 30 minutes as we help you discover how to love life. Hey, welcome to this episode of Loving Life. I'm glad you're here. We're actually going to be going to Clayton, North Carolina, a little tiny town full of some amazing people. My dear friend Diane Bean, cruising with the Beans. You're going to love that. Some entrepreneurs, some amazing stuff. So let's get right to Clayton, North Carolina. Hey, I'm with my friend Diane Bean today. Diane is with Dream Vacations, Cruising with the Beans. Isn't that a cool name? I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, as always.
So, you know we love to cruise.
Yes.
And a question I get asked on the show is this. Why would we go with a travel agent like you for cruises when we can just book it online? Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit.
Right.
Why?
Well, for one thing, we're advocates for you. So we go to bat for any kind of pricing. We inform you of all the necessary hidden fees maybe that are not involved in an online service. So when you're looking online, sometimes you're not seeing the full picture and the full price. So then you get all the way to the end where you have to put in your credit card and bam.
Exactly.
All of those taxes and fees, maybe optional travel protection, is added then. So when we quote right out the gate how much it's going to cost you, gratuities. Travel protection is optional but highly recommended. And not only that, but we are your advocates. So if you have a problem, you're not on hold with a third party. You're talking to me on the phone and I'm communicating to somebody else about your issue.
Because every time I've ever had to get a hold of you, it's like 2 minutes, you're right back to me.
Right.
Okay.
Texting, emailing, phone calls. My cell phone sleeps right next to my bedside. You can call me 24 hours a day.
How does Cliff feel about that?
Well, he gets them too with his job.
Yeah.
So,
it's
all about service.
Yeah, and that's really, customer service is so incredibly important.
Yes.
Because my son booked a cruise on his own, online, thinking he's getting a really good deal with some friends from college. They're getting ready to leave. I'm telling you, they're getting ready to board the plane, and we talk. Now, did you prepay your gratuities? And he looked at me like, "What's a gratuity?" And those add up.
Yes, they do. Some of them are $15, $16 per person per day.
Did you know that? That's an extra in addition to what you're paying for your cruise. So here's $15, $16 a day. I got to make this really simple. A 10-day cruise. That's an extra $150 per person that you haven't paid yet.
Correct.
Okay?
Yes.
And so what you're saying is, as a part of your service, you either add it in or make sure that you tell. Yeah, and how cool is that?
Right.
Top 2 places that people like to go to.
Right.
What are they?
I would say Mexico. Cancun is number one, and Punta Cana is very hot right now. Cruising, always the Western Caribbean, sometimes the Southern. You get more destinations in the Southern, but just most of the time have to fly to San Juan to take a 7-night cruise to get those small little lesser Antilles like St. Lucia, Barbados. But Western Caribbean, you can get 4 destinations in a 7-day cruise, and most times, first-time cruisers are more destination driven. They want the experience of the cruise, but destinations of where they're going is important as well.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been selling it 15 years, but I've been traveling for more.
So huge changes even in ships.
Oh my goodness, yes.
In 15 years.
Yes. Very important to qualify the client to make sure that their personality is going to match the cruise line's personality, because they have them as well. And if we put a person on the wrong ship, they're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, and hate it.
Right. So questions as to, what they like to do, what kind of accommodations they stay in, hotels, things like that determine, what ship we're going to put them on or what cruise line we're going to put them on. So a very active family, Royal Caribbean, NCL, they have all these big water slides. Carnival has the new big water slides as well. They're putting water slides on private islands now.
Cruisingwiththebeans.com. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Well, we got a whole lot more coming up. Hey, we are in small town America. I'm telling you, Clayton, North Carolina. Look at it at the map, the little dot there. But fabulous people full of life. And I'm with Erin. She's with Dylan's Unique Gifts and Weddings, and now even catering.
Yes.
And I love people who step out of the boat, start a business, and make it go. But I really love people who have a story behind it. Let's talk about the story behind the story, which is your son, Dylan.
Right.
What happened?
Well, Dylan, he was 9, and we had just come back from vacation in Myrtle Beach, and he told me he had a stomach ache. And I'm thinking it's just something in general. It's just, I'll get him an acid. And he just threw up every night. I mean, all night long, just all night long. And it turns out that within 24 hours of him telling me that he had this stomach ache, excuse me.
Oh, you're fine.
He passed away. So we're coming up on 7 years in August.
So here's a little kid full of life, and you guys had moved actually from Chicago into this area, kind of.
By way of South Carolina, yes.
Yeah, but your kind of dream with Dylan was, let's open up a store.
Yeah, I had often told him, especially when he was small, because he loved to go to all these different stores, and he was definitely an engineer. He could take a Lego set and put it together just by looking at the pictures, and that's what I do. So I was shocked that he would do it, and I said, "Oh, son, what's this piece right here?" And he's like, "Oh, it's working anyway, so we don't need it." So he was that type of child.
Yeah.
He was just full of life, and to have him so suddenly pass away, I went through years of just depression, suicidal thoughts. I mean, if it wasn't.
And that's a hard thing to go through.
And I still go through it to this day.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's I used to tell him we would have a store one day, and that he would work in my store because I believed in slave labor, and I told him he was going to work into the store. So I opened the store and named it after him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I have the belief and that they're still here.
Me too. When I turn the key every day, I feel like I'm turning it for him.
Oh, absolutely. So here you are in this store, and you have some amazing products.
Thank you.
You know what I love about these kind of stores, it's not stuff you can find at Target or Walmart.
No, we pride ourselves on being extremely unique. That's where the word unique came from. We try not to carry the same things that a lot of people do carry, and we try to gear away from something that you don't see every day. A lot of the stuff I make myself, and because I make it myself, I know it's unique to the area, to the person. It's catered to that person. We've even gone into and done interior design for people's homes and actually changed their actual home to meet their need. Mm-hmm.
So you've been doing this now for?
I will be celebrating 5 years. 5 years this September.
And you love it?
I love what I do. You know, I'm honored and blessed to have, you know, a fabulous husband who fits those valleys that you tend to go into as a business owner. He fills those valleys for me very, very well. And when we're at the peak, he's celebrating because I don't have to dip into the valley for that. So.
Well, and that's what it's all about. It's a roller coaster ride.
It is.
You know, I've always said, some people say, well, I'd really like to be in business for myself. And I'm thinking,
well, when I first opened up the business, you know, I knew I had a great product, and I envisioned lines of people just waiting around the corner, and as soon as I turned the key, it would constantly be like that. But that was, of course, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And you know, it takes years just to build your clientele and build your name. And then when we add catering on there, which we added that a few years ago, that takes years of people just tasting your food, years of giving food away, you know, for people to be able to sample and to be able to do a testimony on how well that is until you get a base together. And then once you get a base together, it's okay. And I'm still working on my base. I work on my base every day. Mm-hmm.
It's always about getting your name out there.
It is. It's always about getting your name out there.
Well, you know, sometimes life is taking lemons and making lemonade. And this is for Dylan. So if you're in Clayton, you got to stop by and check out Dylan's Unique Gifts. Thank you for being with me. You're so awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
awesome.
much.
Hey, how many times have I told you this? I believe your greatest gift that you have from God is your ability to create. And I'm with an incredible creator today. His name is Ivan Hapton. I love that. Thank you for being with me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Let's talk about you. Where did this all start? How old were you?
Oh, quite young. New York City. I grew up between Manhattan and the Bronx. And I want to say by 12, I was really focused and interested in playing the drums and music.
Really?
I had piano lessons before that. And I kind of just got bit early and knew that this is something that, you know, just took up. Yeah, it was me. And felt very fortunate to find that early. So through my high school years, I was actually performing in places I probably shouldn't have been in. Mom would take me and drop me off at the bar with these older guys, and that was it was kind of a school.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, these older musicians, they looked out for me and helped groom me, and you know, occasional hit the drums and yell, and but it was the best thing in the world, and it went on from there.
Well, I'm telling you, there's no school that you could ever gone to have learned all that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. My experience as a student was, I was not a fan of the teacher. I don't think that the instructor liked what she was doing. So I got away and played drums, and music was around in the family, cousins and people. So, you know, it was easy to get information, easy to learn and do things. It was always around, but I'm going back to the piano.
Which is an important thing, because there are times when you have a teacher who doesn't love what they do.
That's right.
And takes it out on you. And there are some kids who lose their love for it. Yeah. But you didn't. You pushed through. I
pushed through. I found another way in another place, you know.
So what's the first time you ever wrote? You ever composed something?
Teenager, just after high school, maybe 19, 18, got into the guitar. So, and I started trying to write on the guitar, got my hands on a tape recorder, reel-to-reel guy I had used, and yeah, I just want to get rid of it. I gave him a couple bucks, and I sat in my bedroom and, you know, tried to come up with some things, you know. And at the time I was playing in a band, a neighborhood band. So, you know, it was a little collaboration going on with myself and some of the other musicians in the band. And we were attempting to write something, you know.
So then from that point, your career just kind of exploded.
Yeah, it was a nice, interesting process. You know, locally I played with this neighborhood band. We would do weddings and things like that. And along with what I was doing during high school, playing with these older players, so it would take me away from the band and put me in other situations. After high school, I got into Bronx Community College. They had a music program that was great. And they also allowed me to study at the Metropolitan Opera with a gentleman named Dick Horowitz. He was the principal timpanist. So yeah, I had to study timp with him and some mallets. That eventually got me into Eartha Kitt's band.
So now it has brought you to Clayton, North Carolina.
Yes.
And you've opened up this institute.
Yes.
Where you're taking what's in your heart
Absolutely.
and implanting it in others.
Absolutely. I love it. I love working with especially the young people.
Yeah.
You know, I've had so many kids pass through here, and I actually taught before I opened this. I was teaching in Clayton, so I have students that return and have families now. You know,
Isn't that crazy?
This is my son. I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
you know. And then,
It's wild.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
But that connection, that alumni,
it's amazing.
And it's about love and
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you for being with me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm telling you, this thing about life is finding things you love and then doing those things. Don't change the channel, because we got more coming up. Does this seem like you on laundry day? I'm telling you, there's all kinds. Where do you go? I'm telling you, somebody has to come up with an idea, and Kevin Bunn did. Kevin,
Nice to
thank
meet
you
Yes,
for
sir.
being with me. So this is, and it's a small problem compared to other problems in the world, but
Right.
it's a problem.
It's a small problem that creates a huge headache.
Yeah.
So, I've learned about it. You know, when I was young, my mother did my laundry, and then after I got married, my wife did my laundry. So it wasn't that big of a deal to me until one day I decided to be a stay-at-home dad for the summer. And bam, I was doing the chores, the laundry, the socks. I never imagined that was that big of a battle. But after about 2 weeks, I decided we got to do something better than that. So we came up with the sock dock.
It's huge. So what do we do?
So basically, you don't normally hang it on the chimney, but
Right.
just for display. So basically, you just hang it on a dirty clothes hamper or on a doorknob, just somewhere near the hamper to make it convenient. When you take your dirty socks off, you just start at the bottom, place them on here like this. They're spring-loaded sliders that hold them in place. Just barely put them in there so they move around to get clean. Once it's full, you just take the hanger off, throw the whole thing in the washer, take it out, goes in the dryer.
You know, my buddy Grant Cardone talks about you always want to have problems.
Right.
And what a great problem to have is too many orders, too many things like that.
Right. That's what you dream of until
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah.
We all of a sudden we started selling 1,000 a day, and I was shipping everything. I was calling my family, my friend, anybody I could get off the street to come
Hands on.
help. Yeah, well, we sold out in about 6 days, so then we had to start all over.
That's
again,
awesome.
Get more orders in.
So here it is. It's just like this. You get 2 pairs.
Yep. They come in. We've got 4 different colors. So we've got dark blue, pink, light blue, which isn't here, and then a red color.
Wife and husband.
And then we just teamed up with the Triangle Down Syndrome Network, and we did a special one for them. It's blue, with yellow sliders. And the proceeds for that goes to the Triangle Down Syndrome Network.
How cool is that? So listen, solves a problem and helps you out. Go to sock.com, check it out, order some today, and then you can tell your friends you know the guy that invented it. Hey, thanks for joining me today. What an amazing show. I love people who can take a concept and run with it, make something out of it. That's what it's all about. Tuning into something that's greater than you and I, taking that concept and turning it into life for others. Please join me on my website, drtimweir.com, Facebook, Loving Life with Dr. Weir, Twitter, Instagram. It's all about this connection that we put together that keeps us locked arm in arm, that helps each of us. Let me help you succeed as you help others succeed. Listen, let's keep loving life together. So till next week, you keep loving life.